Okay, stage 2 in the dating process. So say you've met some people, you've started to go on dates. How do we filter? How do we know those red and green flags? When we're meeting people at first, what we want to do is, like this picture, have a really wide net, and we want to at first catch as many fish as possible. And once you've actually caught the fish and can see what's there, then you want to start filtering. So as I said before, if you're on the apps and you're having a really strict filter and you're saying no, 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 no to so many people because you're like, oh, they wrote that a bit funny, or, you know, I don't know about that one picture, you're actually cutting something off before you even know who the person is in real life. It's kind of like you're going fishing and the water's all murky and you're trying to wiggle your fishing rod around to only catch certain fish, but you don't even know what fish is there. So you really want to only start to do the filtering once you've met someone, had that video date, had that in-person date. There was a term from Amber Gruberman, a coach, of the upside down funnel, that often people, you know, they have a really strict filter at first on the apps and things, and they're kind of ruling people out. But then when they're on a chat or on a date and, you know, seeing someone, they kind of let anyone in, even if they're a 40% person or not that healthy. And we actually want to flip that funnel. So we want to catch a lot of people and then get more and more specific as we go along in the dates. So one key thing for green flags is looking at when there is equality in dating and going into a relationship. This is called the Joulith wheel, and it goes through equality and when there's inequality in relationships. It's online. You can find it online on the web. So this wheel looks at different areas of what creates equality in a relationship. So we've got respect. If someone's non-judgmental, if they value our opinions, if there's trust and support. So, you know, supporting your goals in life, respecting your right to your own feelings and actions, even if they're different to someone else's. Honesty and accountability. You know, if you point something out that someone did that was hurtful, like they suddenly cancelled a date and didn't, you know, give any warning or reasons, and you bring it up. If they're just only defensive or get angry back, they're not able to take that accountability. And then you can have various different ones, you know, if you're more into a relationship, like responsible parenting, shared responsibilities, economic partnership. So there's a lot of different ones here which can be useful just to look at as green flags. And then you can see deal breakers. So this is if someone's asserting power and control, there's any form of violence, physical or emotional. This is 100% deal breaker. So there's lots of different categories here. I won't go into all of them in detail, but, you know, ones, for example, in emotional abuse, if someone's making someone feel guilty all the time, or kind of gaslighting, kind of saying, no, that didn't happen when it actually really did. It could be kind of minimizing things and blaming you for things. So if there's an issue, it's saying, well, actually, you know, turning around to this is your fault. Using forms of privilege or coercion. So these are things that we want to really see as red flags to avoid. And again, if you want to look at this wheel more clearly, you just in Google type Joulith wheel and it'll come up with the website. Again, from the coach Amber Gruberman, there's a good filtering criteria for when you're going to dates called the 5 elements. So the idea with this one is if all these 5 elements are there, they're the ingredients to make a healthy relationship. Just like if you were making a cake, you would need eggs, flour, you need certain ingredients. If you're missing any of those, the cake's going to flop. So we've got the first 2, which you would generally be able to assess more in the early dates. So friendship level. which is where you can have a flowing conversation, you can get each other's jokes. The base for any long-term healthy relationship is going to be friendship there, because if you only have chemistry, sexual chemistry, then that's not going to be enough glue for the long term. You also need that friendship. Attraction. So this is knowing it's okay. There's some people we're naturally more attracted to than others, but we just want to make sure that we don't have too strict a criteria with this, because if 10 out of 10 is our highest attraction, 0 out of 10 is our lowest, if someone is a 5 out of 10 or above, their attraction can go up over time the more the other elements are there. So if maybe you meet someone at first, like, you're 6 out of 10 attracted, if you find that, man, you have such a good laugh together and they're really consistently showing up and they're actually really kind and you have a lot of fun, their attraction will go up over time. And equally, if someone, was a 10 out of 10, but they're disrespectful or things like that, attraction can go down. So we don't need to be 10 out of 10, but, I'd say if it's about 5 or lower, it's okay to say, I'm just not attracted. Respect level. So this is where someone can care and listen to your side of the experience. So care for your feelings or what's going on in your inner world. It's very different if someone cancels a date, if they just suddenly say, last minute, I'm not making it. Versus if they send you a message saying, so sorry to cancel last minute. I've had this big project come up at work. I was really looking forward to seeing you. Can we reschedule to this other day? Both messages, they're still cancelling, but the second message, they're showing that they care about your emotions and your side of the experience. They're addressing that. So respect level might come out in earlier dates, but sometimes this might take a little bit of time. And this is where having a bit of patience and dating comes in, because we can't know all the answers all at once. There's some things to know if it's a healthy match or not. We just need to walk the path and live the experience before we can know. Growth mindset. This is opposed to fixed mindset. If someone has a growth mindset, they're able to, work as a team player to try and resolve kind of challenges or obstacles that come up in your relationship. So they're willing to kind of be flexible, creative, try out different solutions. They might not have the exact same opinion, or they might think differently about something than you, but you feel like there's room to grow together. If someone's fixed mindset, this is where they're like, no, this is the way it is, deal with it. And it feels like you're coming up against a brick wall. Someone asked the question, if someone has a different attachment style, can a healthy relationship happen from that? And I think a big part is whether that person has this growth mindset or a fixed mindset when coming, up with those issues. And the last one, similar vision values or shared vision values. So this can be core deal breakers, like if you definitely want kids, they definitely don't. Maybe someone is from overseas and they definitely want to move back to their home country in the next year, but you definitely want to be in Australia. So even if you have all the other elements there, if those deal breakers, are not aligned, it's eventually not going to work. And also similarly values, like maybe someone really values an active lifestyle. And you don't need someone who does the exact amount of sport or things as you, but maybe at least where there's some overlap in, they're awake at the same hours in the day that you are. Some people might really like to be a night owl, but if it's complete opposite time zones, you're never going to see each other. So this can be a really good one when you're going through dates to go through and have a bit of a checklist. They don't all need to be A++, but, we don't want any of them to be failing. And it just helps, if you're trying to analyze every little bit of information, this helps actually bring it back to core things that really do matter. I mentioned before that Interpersonal effectiveness skills, so relationship skills, are really key in going into dating. The more that you can assert yourself or feel like you can keep your self-respect in dating, the more you'll have a sense of agency and the less your nervous system will go into survival modes. So the more we feel out of control and things will just happen to us, I can't speak up about anything, that'll send the nervous system into stress. So it can be really helpful to build on these skills. So, again, you could go to the DBT self-help workbooks, so there's lots of information on DBT websites online, or you might kind of go to a therapist or someone to talk through some of these skills. Got a quote here from Matthew Hussey: "Don't invest in a person based on how much you like them. Invest in a person based on how much they invest in you." So even if someone has all these amazing qualities, they're like really charming, they've traveled a lot, they, care a lot about their friends and make time for them, those could be great qualities. But if they're not showing those qualities directly in your relationship, then it's not worth anything. They're not putting aside quality time for you, or if they're not being consistent and respectful with you, it's not going to work out. So we want to just notice if there's a trap, if we're falling for these people who just seem amazing, but we need to ask ourselves, how are they showing up in my connection, not in the rest of their world, not just in the rest of the world.